stop grabbing the aggro on everything, dude. I swear to God, if you get the boss, I'm just gonna be like, you wanted this DM. This was your choice. Okay, he was good, well done. Now let's get some mitigation up. Let's get the boss facing me. You guys just wail on his ass for a bit. Want to make a brew, we change games. No, this is Guild Wars 2 with mods. That's what this is. This is Guild Wars 2 with mods. Keep this and you'll hit 90 with a tank before Asmon Gold. That's not difficult. When's he going to play FF14 again? I hope soon, 'cause I actually enjoyed him playing FF14. When Josh is silent, he can solo. When I am quiet, it's like Shaggy unlocking 10% of his power. When I make absolutely no noise, it's when you know shit's about to go down. When I'm thinking, okay, right, here we go. Here we go. That's when you know stuff's about to happen. Tanking is much more... You've got to actually pay somewhat attention. If I'm DPSing this, it'd be really easy. I would just stand back as Black Mage, and occasionally just sometimes touch things. That's what I would do. I love the variety in enemy attacks here as well. The variety is good. This is probably the easiest boss because you just need to stay away from the damage and that's about it. The other boss, the final boss, gives you stacks, and you can see they count up, and the stacks are debuffs, and if you get too many debuffs, then you take a serious amount of damage, and that sucks. So I'm trying to keep all of my stuff up. There we go. Oh, sweet, unlocked, nice. Achievement unlocked, sticking with the pointy end. What we got from this loot guy, but again, not doing any of this for loot. First boss, the first boss is the same as the last, pretty much. I like how the DPS walks forward just far enough to get all the aggro on them. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, I'll come in. Just grab all the aggro here, this is fine. Oh, nearly up on the paladin scale, there we go. You normally don't want to overlay Shalotron with any of your other mitigation because it doesn't work that well together, but you do want to keep at least enough mitigation up. Come on, healer, let's keep it going. Oh, that was very close to dying. It's not even the DPS, the healer is running into the mobs. Yeah, well, you know what, it's okay. Ronnie is the goddess of magic, so I've kind of got to have faith in them, haven't I? I've got to have faith in them. Healer was cutting it very close just there, the clutch heals. The healer knows that I'm going to take the aggro of the mobs. Personally, when I am playing, I feel much more comfortable knowing that I get the aggro first, but that's just how I play. I don't know this group, this is a random group. They're doing fine so far. Lauren Vale's not the easiest one to do. I don't have the skill level of those guys. We don't have... I'm overly cautious. I know that I am, okay? That's the thing with me. If you ever play MMOs with me in a group, one thing you'll learn is that I am massively overcautious. I like to know every move the enemy's going to make. I like to know every move that our team has got. I like to have contingencies on top of contingencies on top of contingencies. I really, really do. I am super overcautious. Okay, so the healer just runs in and gets all the aggro. The DPS run in and get all the aggro, and thankfully, because I've got mitigation enmity, I can grab everything off them, but it's not the easiest to grab it. You know, mate, when you play MMOs with me and we go into do some difficult stuff, we know exactly what's meant to happen, and if it doesn't happen, we know exactly what's going to happen as a backup and a backup and a backup and a backup. I go in with so many plans, it's ridiculous. Mate, I am a very cautious tank. People are always like, oh, pull more, pull more, pull more. I'm like, nope, do not pull more because the healer is nearly dead. In fact, I'm pretty sure the healer nearly did die just then. Yeah, I am extremely cautious as a tank. I tend to go a lot slower than I need to. But some people don't like that. People are like, oh, go faster, go faster, go faster. I've got no real desire to be super quick with anything. I'm happy to go a bit slow with it. This is a very slow run. It is, but this is also, I'm going to sprout, so I'm not going to push the DPS too far. And it's a slow run because I'm focusing more on chatting to you guys and explaining what I'm doing than I am actually running through and tanking as best I can. I'll take as well as I can while entertaining. Slow and steady also arrives at the goal with fewer wipes. That's true. That is very true. I'm trying to stay as close as I can to these guys while also avoiding the majority of stuff and keeping the back to them facing. Can you sit down up pretty so they're being informative? I can try. I've always hated the wall-to-wall pools that are so common. I quite like the slower pace of gameplay, to be honest, but that's just me. I mean, I just prefer that. Pretty sure the healer just ran in. Is it the final boss room? It might be. So I'll skip this cutscene. I'll double check that I've still got time to get into the thing before it ends. Alright, here we go. Now I can stick on some mitigation. And now I can start slapping you around. This way, my friend. Come on. Over near the wall fruit, please. That's better. Alright, here we go. Damage up. Let's attack. Arm's length, just, you know, for good measure. I'm not particularly bothered about... Oh, that's interrupt. Don't need to interrupt anything yet, but I can do, just to try and get rid of the burrow. Oh, no, you burrowed. That's fine. I want to try and leave the burrow interrupt to last, but you got me just on that one. Okay, we've got two burrs in, but that's fine. I positioned you here so I can get more ball fruit while still being focused. That's the point. Healers are the true tanks. Healers are the true daddies of the dungeons. Let's be honest. Healers decide who lives, they decide who dies. They are the tough ones. Let's pull you back. In fact, let's reduce your damage for everyone slightly before you do that big nasty attack. I mean, some people like pulling from wall to wall, some people don't. Come on, Miser. Be over here, mate. Let's just grab the aggro from everyone, because that's the best way to do it right now. Let's be greedy with our attacks here. Get some mitigation up to 4 seconds, and then we'll get up for the next couple of seconds. I was kind of hoping that it would stay in the same place, seeing as we're on 2 stacks already. But I'll grab you, get this before we get to 3, because nobody wants to be on 3 stacks of the burrs. Never tell a healer to adjust. I'll change what I'm doing until we get to the right place. It's fine. Don't worry. I know that the healers take priority here. This is okay. I mean, I'm pretty good as a paladin at keeping myself alive if I need to. The one problem I've got right now is that I don't have access to hallowed ground, and hallowed ground is the kind of push to not die button, which is useful. I was seeing for dungeons, someone was obnoxiously pulling, goading them to go faster, they clearly preferred slower, as the healer let them die. Yeah, pretty much. We succeeded, and that was fine. Right, let's do player commendations and give it to the only person left. And I'm not bothered about any of it. We didn't die in Aurum Vale. That was good. First time joining a live stream, please be gentle. We couldn't be much more rough than trying to pull a brand new team through Aurum Vale. So I think we did fine. I even got a player commendation. Check me out. Angie healer. Why is everyone here? What are you all doing? Why are you not grinding? Why is there a bunny girl with a... You look so happy. Everyone looks so happy. Guild Wars 2 is a game about trying to become a sparkle, whereas Final Fantasy 14 is a game where everyone is a sparkle. That's Aurum Vale is the sprout eater. Average limsa moment. Yeah, pretty much. This is what we're doing. What do we tank now? Or do we go with the gold source? I mean, I'm always up for the gold source. Has anyone ever told you you're like Richard Madden in Game of Thrones? They have, but I prefer to take back the narrative and I say Richard Madden looks like me. If you ever meet Richard Madden, tell him he looks like a niche internet micro-celebrity who does MMORPG games. And he'll look at you and be like, who? And he'll be like, it doesn't matter, don't worry about it, and then you leave. Josh, it's 20 past the hour, a new gate will have started in the saucer. God damn, why are we not there right now? Why are we not at the golden saucer, literally right now? Let's do it. Can you imagine if Richard Madden was like, yeah, I get that. Henry Cavill probs know who you are. I hope he does. Right, we're at the golden saucer, what are we doing? Let's play real, genuine, actual, proper stuff. Right, let's do this. Here we go. It's fine. I didn't even want to play in this game, it's okay. This isn't my game. You guys, you do well. You're doing fine. I believe in all of you. Shut up. I'm wishing for the day Henry Cavill gets on the cameo. Oh god, Visa, you're going to spend so much money making him say dumb shit to me, aren't you? That's okay, I'll sit here. It's alright, don't worry, I'll just sit here and then just No. Hang out here with some cat girls. This is fun. This is my life. And a cat boy? Oh, now I know. Now I'm definitely lucky. Fantastic. I look so angry. Look at my character. He looks so emo. He's so ridiculous. Not even the head pats are helping. He's so ridiculously emo. I love it. You could visit Omega from like, you could do. I think am I on Chaos or Omega? I'm on Omega. That's why it says Omega on the screen. That's what that means. I'm sorry if all of you were expecting a professional level stream when you got me. But the special limited time event has concluded. We look forward to your participation in the events to come. So do I. You know, Gates, has anyone informed Zeppelin? We can let her know. Is she legitimately online? I don't know if she's online right now. I don't think she is. That's a shame. Right, I think I need to play some games and show you guys how good I am at gaming. Because sometimes you forget that I am actually a pro gamer. Guessing I just click it when it's at the top. That's close. Weak. Shut up, game. Show your face. Show you weak. I'm guessing that I click it when it's all the way up there. Right, is that right? Am I clicking it on the wrong end? Do I need to click it on the left-hand side? Click it when it's in the middle. Oh, no one told me this. Okay, that's fine. Right, that's not the middle, but no one clicked this. Everyone pretend this didn't happen. Shut up. Click that. That's what we do. That's 25 MPG. Boom, son. Game is done. Beaten it. Finished, all of you. Thank you for the bouncing and the red things. I couldn't have done it without you. I was distracted. I was very stars. That's what it was. The stars were not in alignment. Stars. Wrong position. Can't do it. That's the punch game. Where is the Moogle game? You got that reference. Stars. Can't do it. One of my favourite films, without a doubt, is The Road to Colorado. I swear to God, The Road to Colorado is massively underrated. So many people haven't even seen it. When someone says to me they haven't seen The Road to Colorado, I'm like, sit down, we're watching it right now. Here we go. Let's do some more stuff. The Moogle's Paul. Let's play. So I've got to move this across and then up, and hopefully we should sit down, son. That's how we do games. 25, got the red one, not even a problem. Done. What's coming next? Where else do we want to be going to? Done chocolate racing. Oh, hey. I think we can. Gold Saucer, random chocolate races. Let's join. Let's see what happens. We've joined up to a random chocolate race in the Gold Saucer. If enough of you blame Shell for your thigh addiction. Look, The Road to Colorado, I've already discussed this. There's a couple of films in a person's life that will affect them for the rest of their life. The regular viewers will know who has affected my life forever. There's a couple of films that after you watch them, you realise that your life direction has changed. And you've maybe developed an interest. You've maybe started to understand who you are slightly more. And the regular viewers will know that for me, that film was Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. And that was the Hex Girls. That happened. When the Hex Girls happened, like, my entire life took a very different direction when I first of all discovered the Hex Girls, and then when I watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show and discovered Tim Curry. I was like, this is a moment right now. This is a moment things have happened. So I do not remember the correct way to do this. How do I run quicker? I'm guessing I hold... Oh, you hold... Okay, cool. You just run. Cool. I see. So you hold W to run faster. Maybe get me that. What was that new? Spiderweb? Let's use that. Okay, so I'm falling back for a more dramatic victory. That's what I'm doing. Falling back for a more dramatic... My chocolate was pretty crap, by the way. Frankenfurter from the Rocky Horror Picture Show is without a doubt one of the most amazing characters in cinematic history. Oh, boosted. Now for real. Josh losing. I'm not losing. I'm falling back for a more dramatic victory. You've got to pull your chocolate back a bit when it's lathered. You know, you've got to get a good lather going on your chocolate, and occasionally just jump over things like this. He cosplays Eddie. Excellent. You know, when Eddie said he didn't like his teddy, you knew he was a no-good kid. I'm not good at this, but it's having fun that matters. Right now I'm being overtaken by Wet Locket. Nobody wants to be overtaken by Wet Locket. And yet here we are. Just pull you back, stop you being lathered. Get your thing. Oh, okay, excellent. Yeah, take that, Locket. You stupid Locket. I'm gonna go... What's that shooting game? What was the one where you have to shoot the things? Remember that? Yeah. Oh, stamina tablet. Thank you. There we go. Tireless. Beautiful. Here we go. Tireless going on. A little bit of absolute sprinting. Yeah, you're loud. It's okay. Don't worry. Pull back a bit, then we'll get back to sprinting. It's good. And you all thought I was going to lose. You all were worried about me, weren't you? I had no need to be. You had no need to be. I appreciate your concern, don't get me wrong, but it's not necessary. Look at this. Here's how I do it. I've 94% all the way through. He's lathered. I'll take third place. Third place is a good place to be. Third place is a good place to be. Arctic Soul 88, did you win? Were you Vermil Parfait? What a fantastic name. Vermil Parfait. And now who gets the... God damn it. Like, okay, fine, I'll take that. That's fine. I'm okay with this. Where is the gate guard? Mr. Gate person? Games. More games. Monster toss. Alright, let's toss something. Here we go. I'm guessing you kind of want to be in the middle again. Hey, that's pretty good. That's not bad. I'll take that. Oh, that missed. That was 8 minutes next gate. I'll wait 8 minutes next gate. That's fine. Come on, that was close. God damn. Oh, we are failing at this. Over again. I'm just glad you're happy. This one is very forgiving. Did you just say this one is very forgiving and now I've made one shot? Oh, wow. Okay, so I still got 20. That's amazing. That's like a lot of stuff. You spend one and you still get an absolute load back. That's pretty impressive. Okay, I'll try again. I've got a couple of balls. You're just going to try and get the balls in the thing. This is not forgiving at all. You lied to me. You very much lied to me. How does one obtain an anime waifu for laifu? How do you? Old British man reflexes. Okay, less of the old. The British, I can argue with that. That's fine. But less of the old. What was it? Yes. Oh yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were walking dogs. Thank you for this, very kind of you. And we were talking about the game Conkers. Who from England played Conkers? You know what Conkers is? You get like a Conker from a Conker tree, it falls on the floor, you take the kind of the wrapper off it, if you will, the spiky green thing. You get the Conkers out of the surfer, you drill a hole through the Conker, and then you put a shoestring through it or a little bit of string through it, you tie it around the Conker, and then maybe you soak it in vinegar, maybe you coat it with nail lacquer or something like that. Everyone had different versions of how they played their Conkers. And then you went to school, you held the Conker up and it held down by a string, and someone else, you swung your Conker at someone else, and you cracked them together, and then they did it to you, and you went back and forth until it eventually broke. And when your Conker survived, you added 1 to its score. So when you come into school the next day, you'd be like, this is a 6er. Oh, well, this is a 7er. Fine, we're going to have a battle at break time. And it was the talk of the school until it finally hit lunchtime. They're like, oh my god, come on, that is a 6er fighting a 7er. And everyone would gather around and you hold it out and you smack the Conker down. And I was explaining this to a friend of mine. And they looked at me and they went, I have no idea what you're on about. I have never done that. And I felt really old. There are moments in life when you realise how old you are. And these just sound old. Oh. I love the fact that there's a load of people standing around me in the Golden Saucer while I lament about how old I feel that I've never played Conkers. Also, why am I the tallest person here, apart from the elephant? Why is everyone so short? I don't like this. This is not good. You're all very, very small. Hey, I'm pretty tall in this game, to be fair. That's true. This is not tall in real life. Totally average size, and that irks me, it does. I do feel irked. 300 hours in this game because it gets better. The story is fantastic. I don't know what the story is. I've given up really trying to remember. Right, Leap of Faith will be held in Round Square in about 3 minutes. Let's go and do it. Are there any strategies you used in Conkers? Mainly psychological. Do you want to know how a streamer plays an MMORPG? I'll tell you. Followed around by an unkillable army. That's how we do it. People say, oh, you've got streamer RNG. Don't need it, mate. It doesn't matter if my drop's not good. Everyone else's is good. And then everyone gives me all the money and all the drops. That's how I do things. That's how I work. I'm going to let you on a secret. Never actually played an MMO. No idea what they are. Never played one solo ever. I don't even know what RNG is. The Asmon strategy. That's how it works. You get followed around by enough people. That's how it works. That is how Mafia works. Very true. Believe it or not, you're on my primary monitor right now. Don't do that to yourself, Tam. But you can find something better. I mean, I'm pretty sure Tom Cardy dropped a new song recently. I'm pretty sure... I mean, hang on. I'll find you some better content. Give me a second. Mighty Teapot's got a new video out. He sorts some stuff out. Pleasant Kenobi's got a booster opening out. That's fine as well. Young Year put something out because he always does. Oh, Jazzy Mew. Yeah, he's got some new songs out as well. Interesting guy. We can find you something else. We can find you someone better. The Axeman is just 3 hours ago. The Axeman put out a new video about YouTube drama. He's made monitor content. That's fine. Good luck with Young Year. Oh, Triple Jump 5 hours ago. They put out worst games ever. Compilation. It's good. There we go. You need to jump or is it just throws you? Okay, that's fine. Alright, so I guess it's time to jump. Which way do you go? Ah, here we go. Okay. Everyone just remember that jumping over here is actually... Well, you have to click those or collect them or just run over them? Just run over them really quickly. Okay. Right, everyone focus now. The problem with jumping in Final Fantasy XIV as opposed to jumping in Guild Wars 2 is when you jump in FF14, you actually commit to the movement. You can't change it in mid-air. In Guild Wars 2, you can change the movement mid-air. It's actually much, much easier. With FF14, you very much fully commit. If you get that, do I get it as well? Oh, no. No! That was a practice. That was a practice run. Shut up. Everyone that saw that didn't. I'm going to ban everyone and delete every clip. There was no proof that ever happened. Yeah, Guild Wars 2, the jumping puzzle is a lot better than FF14, simply because FF14 forces you to commit to the movement of a jump. Guild Wars 2 lets you switch it around in mid-air. And that is a massive bonus. You know what? We don't need that one. It's fine. We don't need it. It's totally okay. We've got something else. We've got something better. We'll go this way. Okay. Little one. We'll probably get this one. This one's fine. Good. Got that one. We've got this one. Excellent. See, now I know what I'm doing. Now we're good. Come on, get it. Get it. Walk straight over it. Fly me to where we need to be. We don't know where I'm going. Assuming it's this way. Yeah, boy. Okay. Hey, there we go. Raced and won. Don't know if this is the right way, but I have committed, and it's not the right way. Also, the perfect run. No, we're good. We're going to go this way. You always thought the cactus in Final Fantasy XIV was related to the cactus Digimon. They are, these are. Everyone convinced him that they are. No one tell him they aren't. Right, let's just go this way. If I could make one change to FF14, one change, all it would be is the ability to control your character in the air better, instead of committing to a single click and a single jump, and not being able to manipulate the movement of that jump. Why is this here again? I already collected you. There we go. Can we run this way and jump this way instead? Can you? Yeah, okay. All right, we're good. You remove the catgirls just to annoy people. Well, that's just going to ruin the game. Like, without catgirls, what have you got? Without catgirls, it's just Final 14. There's no fantasy. Okay, we're good. What is this one? Oh, it seems that this one is a trick. Can you jump that way? No! God damn it! Oh, physics, you made a fool of me once again. Right, everyone be serious now, no more fun. We're just going to run through this, no stopping. I'm not even taking my finger off the W key. Only cowards take their finger off the W key, apart from this bit here very specifically. Now we're back to the W key. That was a mistake. I'm going to take my key off the W key periodically throughout this, because I realise that is the sensible way to do this. Do I even need the final point? I don't even need the final point. Who needs it? It's pointless. God damn it! I hate everything about this world. Oh, okay, let's go down this way. Where does it take us to? This is... what? This is... oh, God, we're here. Okay. Let's just run up this way. This works. Okay, I mean, I didn't expect this to work, but this is a method. Gets us to here. That gets us... oh, so I overshot it last time. I see. Yeah, boy. Boom, son. Did it. Finished the level. 7 next, I'm going back to the cactiles. Now I'm done. 10 times 6, 3,200. That ain't bad. On the 27th of September 2021, Amazon's MMORPG New World launched. It was an instant, incredible success, seeing almost 1 million players online on the first day. The launch week saw servers filling up hour-long queue times and thriving PvP battles across the whole map. New World was heralded as the savior of the MMO genre. Now, there are servers with 5 people currently online, many with less than 50. The daily active player base has fallen by almost 94%. The economy has been destroyed with rampant duplication. The grind increased to unbearable levels, and crafted items scale down when you equip them, making crafting essentially pointless. But how did this happen? What went wrong, when, and what will it take to fix it? I'm going to explore the timeline of New World, from pre-release hype to alpha and beta test, public release, and then the absolute calamity of bugs and glitches of the following few months. So, sit back and grab a drink as we explore the incredible rise and then monumental fall of New World. As usual, a huge thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. More on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. Many people have accused the MMORPG genre of being stale for many years, and a major new release would be seen by many as the shake-up the genre so desperately needed. So when Amazon Game Studios announced New World, a player-versus-player hardcore-focused MMORPG set on the magical Spanish conquistador-inspired island of Aeternum, people were excited. However, for many, the studio behind it had already lost players' trust. Back in 2018, Amazon Games cancelled Breakaway, a multiplayer brawler they announced back in 2016. Then Amazon Games had released the multiplayer shooter Crucible into open beta, then closed it, then put it into beta again before finally shutting that down too. The new Lord of the Rings MMO joint venture between Amazon Games and Tencent has also recently been confirmed as shut down. One of the few games they were able to finish and released the Grand Tour game, a game based on the TV show starring the ex-Top Gear presenters, released to lukewarm reviews with no positive critical reviews on Metacritic, and then they pulled this from the digital shop as well. Amazon Games have a track record of cancelling products or releasing mediocre games, so when they announced New World, one of the most ambitious MMORPG projects in years, they had a lot to prove, and the eyes of the MMO world were on them. New World was originally advertised as a game focused on player versus player combat with territory control mechanics. The PvP would always be on with full loot, meaning outside of the safe cities, any player could attack any other player at any time, and if you died, you would lose all of your items. In December of 2018, this full loot hardcore PvP went into closed alpha. Now, as an MMORPG content creator, one of the opinions I hear a lot is how MMOs need to focus on PvP more, and my response is hardcore player versus player simply does not have the mass appeal of the casual player versus environment gameplay. And after alpha testing, Amazon Games Studios discovered this too. They released this developer blog discussing the evolution of PvP within New World, stating how anecdotal evidence from forum posts along with the actual involvement in PvP within the game being tracked showed that players didn't enjoy being attacked all the time. The always-on PvP wasn't actually that appealing to the majority of modern casual MMO players, so they would be redesigning it and likely adding an opt-in mode where you must manually flag for PvP. If you do not flag, you'll be safe. With player versus player now optional, the game faced another problem. It simply wasn't designed for player versus environment. The game content had been designed around player-based conflict, and with only a few months until release, the developers had to scramble to create a player versus environment experience, adding a quest, a main plotline, or dungeon bosses. This upset the PvP players who wanted a game focused entirely on them, and it worried the PvE players who knew the game wouldn't release with enough content to satisfy them. By switching focus so late in development, New World had potentially set itself up to be a disappointment to both demographics instead of a haven for one. On the 20th of August 2020, alpha testing was announced with sign-up instructions. At this point, the PvP elements of the game were still being pushed as the focus. The game boasted 3 joinable factions with player-controlled towns, allowing the controlling company to set the taxation rate of a town when players bought houses there or crafted there, or upgrade the skilling stations as they saw fit. The banking system would be limited town by town, meaning no centralized bank. You would store your items where you chose to live and need to manually carry them to another town if you wanted to move. The design was much more hardcore than most modern theme park MMOs. This was being aimed at more serious MMO players. At this point, New World was not intended to be a casual, friendly experience. The alpha testing lasted for several months, and even though all testers were under a non-disclosure agreement, questions began to surface about the game's cash flow. Despite being an alpha, it had a functional in-game shop, and on the 13th of May 2021, this tweet from the New World team explained that at launch, the in-game shop will only feature cosmetics. Notice the at launch bit, that may become relevant later. 2 days later, on the 15th, Amazon Games released a statement on the future of in-game microtransactions, stating it would be cosmetic only at launch, but they would be discussing the possibility of a battle pass system in the future, or selling temporary boosts to experience to help players catch up with combat or skilling levels. They also mentioned selling the ability to fast travel around the land. They state anything sold in the shop would also be obtainable via playing the game. 2 months later, on the 14th of July, the closed beta is announced, and on the 20th it begins. Information starts being gathered, the formation of player-created wikis begins, and the YouTubers with access to the beta begin theory crafting and creating guide videos. The non-disclosure agreement is lifted, and the information on the game starts to spread. On the first day of public viewing, popular streamer Annie Fuchsia is banned live on Twitch while streaming for milking a cow. The pop-up explains this is a permanent ban, with the word permanent spelled incorrectly. 1 day later, July 21st, a Reddit post appears discussing the starting zones. In New World, players do not choose a starting zone, instead spawning randomly on one of the game's many beaches, following a similar early game experience, and eventually ending up in a settlement. This means groups of friends who started together and wanted to play together may not necessarily actually start the game together. This lack of choice in your starting zone seems extremely out of place for a social-focused MMO, especially one with so much weight behind player versus player. Starting with your friends was a plan for many people. When people discovered you had no choice and might start on opposite sides of a very hostile world, and even if you were lucky enough to spawn together, the game had no quest-sharing feature, people immediately began to feel unsatisfied. The next day, a video was posted to Reddit showing how fishing in the Windswood River would instantly crash your game. This is one of the earliest public videos showing how New World might have some questionable coding, if only we knew then how bad it was going to get. 2 days later, 24th of July, I released my first impression review, New World, a slightly above average MMO. My experience was complex. In the video, I experienced multiple character movement and combat glitches. I criticized the extremely repetitive early game questing system, being endless fetch or kill X quests. I disliked how the 3 factions had no real identity beyond being different colors, and felt the story wasn't fleshed out enough to survive on its own merits as a PvE game, and the PvP wasn't focused enough to appeal to PvP players. It felt like the kind of game where if there weren't people running around the world making it feel alive, the world would not feel alive on its own merits. However, the graphics and sound were top quality, with the ambient lighting being some of the best I've seen, and the sound design probably being the best in any MMO. I feel the game had no real identity. I didn't know what it was. I called it a solid foundation, but it clearly wasn't finished. The same day, New World tweets out about how all in-game reports are manually reviewed by a human, and there will be no automatic bans. It's important to remember this. It will be relevant later. 2 days later, on the 26th, a Reddit post titled "I like the game, but the questing system and main storyline are horrendous." This received thousands of upvotes and hundreds of comments, with many players complaining the quest was soulless, repetitive tasks. Even the main storyline quest sent you to several identical locations multiple times to kill multiple identical enemies to collect multiple identical items. General player consensus is the PvE aspects have been put in as filler around the PvP focus. 8 days later, the 3rd of August, a Reddit post complaining about the garish, immersion-breaking cosmetic house pet, the Rainbow Lion. New World was focused on a fantastical yet somewhat grounded age of exploration aesthetic. Players saw the inclusion of this over-the-top pet as an almost mobile game level of selling out-of-place cosmetics. Amazon Games Studios defended the Rainbow Lion being included. 3 weeks later, August 25th, the open beta is announced. It will be for all players and will start from the 9th of September. 2 weeks later, the open beta begins, and on the 10th of September, PC Games N reports the beta test hit 141,000 players in a single day and became the 5th most popular game on Steam. It seems New World was off to an extremely strong start. With the non-disclosure lifted, guides for different builds and dungeons began to flood YouTube. New World had the best possible start an MMO could ask for. A lot of players. All it had to do now was keep them. 10 days later, on the 20th, I released a follow-up video, New World, is there any adventure left? In it, I discuss how even though New World is still in beta, it is fully documented, meaning new players already have detailed guides for everything. I explain how any video game releasing into a post-information state will likely see a wave of players speedrun the game and then complain there is no content. And Amazon Games Studios will need to put out new content at an astounding rate to keep up with player demand, although what is much more likely is they will simply increase the grind to the end game. 1 week later, on the 27th, New World goes into full public release. The game is buy once and play forever with no monthly subscription. Within only a few hours, the forums and subreddit are flooded with complaints about every aspect of the game. The enemy variation is abysmally low, being mostly human-shaped skeletons or zombies who all stagger the player on hit no matter how much armor you are wearing, resulting in extremely repetitive combat encounters. Players are still complaining about how they cannot choose their starting positions to begin the game with a pre-arranged group of friends, and how some servers are already full up and the queue to get into the game was several hours long. New World could hold 2,000 players per server, and at one point in the opening day, the queue of players waiting to log in was over double what these servers had the maximum capacity to hold in the game. Amazon Games announced they were looking to getting more servers online. 2 days later, on the 29th, major gaming publications begin to pick up on the news of the queues. This would be the start of the news outlets focusing on the problems New World would go on to face over the following months. Later that day, YouTuber Asmongold released the video, the Asmongold New World Launch Experience. In the video, he experiences extreme queue times, multiple login issues where he is booted from the queue and then has to rejoin at the end, and then crashes multiple times while in the game. New World remains close to the top of Steam's most played chart and Twitch's most views chart for the following day. On the 1st of October, VG Charts publishes an article talking about how New World had over 1 million players on its first day, with the Steam charts showing a concurrent player count of just over 900,000 players. People are flocking to the game, and it can be considered a success. 3 days later, on the 4th, YouTuber Kira TV releases Should You Buy This New MMORPG? He states while graphics and sound are great, the core systems get repetitive and the gameplay feels lacking. He explains the game is unlikely in its current state to become your forever game, but isn't costing you a forever price tag. The fact New World is buy once with no monthly subscription is one of its biggest strengths. Unfortunately, the lack of polish is beginning to show. One day after Kira's video, on the 5th, a user post on Reddit showing how the higher tier armor set silk cloth clips through their avatar's hair model. Many more clipping issues like this will be discovered over the next few hours as players become high level. One day later, on the 6th, I released another video, New World Will It Last? In the video, I compare New World to the film Avatar. Avatar released to extreme financial success but left no cultural footprint. It was visually stunning but not deep or complex enough to maintain a fan base or create a popular extended universe. I felt New World would be the same. Because of its lack of identity, I could see it releasing, being enjoyed for a few short weeks or months, and then ultimately fading into obscurity. The next day, on the 7th, YouTuber Upper Echelon Games releases New World I Am Very Worried. In the video, he discusses the fun gameplay is actually somewhat shallow after a few hours of playing and how he can see the player base leaving unless the absolute mountain of smaller issues, such as the graphical clipping, repetitive quest, or lack of features to team up and quest share, are all fixed. He predicts a player exodus within weeks once the player base realizes how insubstantial the game is in its current state. 2 days later, on the 9th, this Reddit post shows how quests aren't the only thing being repeated. Several towns in the game are literal copy-paste versions of the same settlement, simply rotated. New World has been in development for over 5 years. The game now has limited enemies, limited quests, and limited towns. Over on the official forums, moderator Z, a customer support representative, replies to a user and apologizes for them being banned, stating bots can automatically ban someone with too many reports over a short period of time. Soon after that, community manager Muggsy apologizes for moderator Z's post and states, I'm not sure why they believe we are using bots to moderate, but we will investigate this disconnect. Around this time, mass reporting discords become established where users can comment player names, which servers they're on, and why they want others to mass report them. They still exist. The next day, on the 10th, there is a compendium thread posted on the New World forums listing every major instance of an unfair player banning or a 24-hour automated ban due to mass reports, casting even more doubt on the claim that each report is reviewed by a human. There are simply too many examples of automated mass reporting consistently resulting in a player ban. The Reddit threads start to echo this sentiment because of the ability for a guild to mass report a player without any repercussions. You are now only playing New World until a guild decides you are not. Because this is a PvP game, it has been discovered the most effective tactic to stop your enemy taking part in a PvP battle and to weaken their team is to simply mass report them before the battle even begins. 1 week later, on the 17th, the window drag invulnerability glitch is discovered and reported and quickly spreads. Before we look into what this is, we need to examine New World's bug reporting system. If a player discovers a glitch or a bug in the game, they're encouraged to report it on the official forums, which involves filling in the forum's questionnaire, explaining what it is, and then what steps a player must take to replicate it. However, this forum is not private, it is completely public. Having a bug report system is great. Having that system and all reports made with it open to anyone is so monumentally dumb, I'm amazed this exists. What this means is players can just constantly refresh the bug report forum until a new glitch is reported, then read the steps to reproduce it, and it spreads like wildfire. This system is still used. This is why, whenever a glitch is discovered, it will take less than 24 hours before the entire community knows about it. The window drag glitch was the first moment players began to suspect the New World client was client-side authoritative. In any MMORPG game, you have the server, the main company control element, and the client, your own personal game window. The client shouldn't be able to affect anything substantial in game. It is simply a way to experience the game. If the client could affect the game code, client-side hacks like aimbots, currency affecting calculations, or infinite health cheats could be activated. The discovery of the window drag glitch and how it caused the client to stack up damage but not process it caused mass panic because player versus player, the game's most promoted feature, was now fundamentally broken. In any area control PvP mode, a player could now stand on a capture point, then simply drag the game window around to become invulnerable. When they stopped dragging the window, all the damage that was registered would hit them instantly and they would die. But if they held the window for the duration of the match, they would remain alive on the capture point and make the other team unable to take it. 1 day later, on the 18th, PC Gamer runs an article discussing the window drag glitch, explaining how it makes players effectively invincible. The majority of PvP battles are now guilds preemptively mass reporting enemy generals to weaken the other side through automatic bannings, and then just dragging the window while standing on the areas to never lose points. The next day, the 19th, YouTuber Upper Echelon Games releases New World is in a terrible state. In this video, he discusses the mass reporting and window drag and writes in his description, New World is fundamentally broken from the ground up. Entire sections of the game's core loop don't work. The client-side mechanics are being exploited to a point where the PvP is completely destroyed, and the economy is still a race to the bottom as one of the biggest releases in years. The same day, Massively OP reports on the window dragging invincibility bug. 1 day later, on the 20th, a post on Reddit begins to gain popularity saying unbound gear should not take damage in your inventory. In New World, because it's a hardcore game, when you die, your equipped items take durability damage. When their durability drops to 0, the item becomes less effective, weapons do less damage, and armor provides less protection. However, the durability damage isn't limited to your worn items. Absolutely any equipable item you are carrying in your inventory, whether bound or unbound, will also be damaged. Even items you've never equipped or cannot wear. Later that day, Kotaku run an article discussing the deflation crisis the game is now facing. It seems New World has too many gold sinks, and as a result, there aren't enough coins in the game to sustain the economy. The game is full of taxes. You are taxed for using crafting stations in town or buying a house and then maintaining that house. You need to use coins to repair items and armor and to place buy or sell requests on the market board. Because of this, players are choosing to trade items for items, not other coins, and the value of a single coin is currently far too high. On the 21st, YouTuber Yongye releases a video discussing deflation titled New World's economy is so broken it's facing a deflation crisis. He explains how gold is so rare in the early to mid game, which is the majority of the player base currently, the economy has simply stalled. A few hours later, Kira TV releases a video titled Gold Duke, New World's latest exploit. This would actually be an ironic but still broken fix to the deflation crisis because now extreme inflation is about to happen. It seems the client-side limited authorization is exploitable with trading, and if a player-to-player trade happens but the player giving the gold lags heavily, the game registers the receiving player as having gained gold but does not process the giving player as having lost gold. This is reported on the forums and becomes instantly abused. Players trade with friends, then use third-party lag switches to lag their client out and duplicate millions of gold within the hour. Despite the economy now being utterly destroyed due to the massive influx of duplicated coins and Amazon's inability to seemingly track this, Amazon do not issue a rollback. The market board now becomes completely bought out of most items. If you are not duplicating gold at this point, you are now months behind in wealth generation. 1 day later, on the 22nd, this video is uploaded to Reddit showing a speed bug where the Great Axe weapon gets stuck in a charging animation. Players have been complaining the travel was taking too long, so this is actually seen as a boon to the community. It is at this point players begin to question whether New World should have remained in beta and was ready for a full release. 3 days later, another Reddit post showing another bug. If you cursor over an icon on the map, it grows slightly. Then when you cursor off, it shrinks to its original size. But if you flip the cursor over it quickly and don't let the shrink animation finish, it grows by a % of its current size, not the original size, meaning you can consistently increase the size of map icons. This is just a funny visual bug, nothing game breaking here. The next day, on the 26th, Forbes runs the article New World Burnout is setting in hard. By now, the majority of players have realized the game does not offer much variety from level 20 onwards. The PvP is still broken, the PvE is mostly fighting zombies or other humanoid-shaped creatures. The most efficient crafting method involves gathering the basic resources for hundreds of hours and making the basic items over and over again. The player base is beginning to leave once they realize the game is buggy and somewhat limited. 1 day later, on the 27th, a Reddit post shows that a user cannot appeal a ban against them because the appeal process requires you to list which server you are on, and the text box has a 4-character minimum requirement, despite the fact that some servers are only 3 letters long. Customer support tells the player to simply put zeros to pad out the server length name. Let's hope this isn't an automated system. On the 28th, another period of major confusion and upset begins. In order to combat the gold duplication duplication via lagging exploit, the game now does not process transactions when one of the players involved is seen as lagging or being offline. This works fine to stop the exploit for now, but has wider-reaching implications. It is important to note, these knee-jerk reaction hotfixes are being added directly to the live game, because at this point, New World does not have a public test realm or test server, so nothing is being tested before it goes live. This updated transaction processing method temporarily destroys the game's auction house. If you, as an online player, purchase an item listed by a player who's currently offline, you will receive the item, but they will not receive the gold you have paid them. If you place a buy request for an item while you are offline and it's fulfilled, the player fulfilling the request will receive the gold you put up as payment, but you will not receive the items they have supplied you. Amazon explains this would all be resolved, and the gold or items players were waiting on were not lost forever, simply stored as a backlog, and would eventually be paid out. However, if you had a backlog linked to your account, you were unable to transfer servers until this was resolved, and it would take several days to resolve. On the same day the auction house is thrown into chaos, I released a video showing how the window drag glitch could be used to exploit PvE. If you performed a roll, which is an immunity frame against enemy attacks, and then dragged the window in the middle of the roll, the server would not process the end of roll character status update, meaning all enemies around you, even if aggressive, would stop attacking you because the game server thinks you're still immune. I proved this by having 4 enemies attack me, rolling and then window dragging and not losing any health even when I focused the window again. You can exploit this by using a heal over time spell or food item, then roll freezing, allowing the heal over time to stack up, and then when you refocus it will all apply at once, effectively completely healing you. This is more proof the server requires the last known state of the client to decide how to respond to the player. Later that day, the crouch heal bug is also discovered and posted to Reddit. If a player places a healing aura down and then repeatedly spam crouches while inside it, the heal effect will happen much faster than it should, showing in-game status effects are, for some reason, now affected by the character's standing or crouching position. This heal bug is used in PvP to hold zones indefinitely, as a player cannot be killed when receiving this much healing. The next day, on the 29th, after Echelon Games releases the future of New World is bleak. He recaps all the bugs, crashing client issues, unbalanced PvP, deflation, inflation, and player-based drops we've seen so far. Later that day, I upload the New World is even more broken video, where I showcase possibly the worst elements of the client we've so far discovered. It was discovered the chat box in New World does not sanitize user inputs and will accept hypertext markup language, or HTML, to hugely glitch what every other player can see. When a player links an item in the chat, that item is held in square brackets. The item will then have an in-game image associated with it and show the item's tooltip when the chat box is hovered over. But by using HTML before the item, you can manipulate the image it shows and the size of the image. It was as simple as typing the new image location and stating the size of the new image before any linked item. We then discovered we could do this with possibly the best image, the sausage. New World is made in the Lumberyard engine, so by linking to ly shine UI, images, icons, items, consumables, sausage1.dds and specifying the height as anything much larger than it should be, then linking a random item in the chat, the item image will become a massive sausage, visible to everyone on the server. We then discovered 2 incredibly invasive uses for this glitch. By attempting to link an image which did not exist and setting the scale to the maximum you could, the game would show a small yellow texture not found square, but it wouldn't be small because we set it to maximum. So this yellow image would appear above a player's head and fill the entire game screen and the chat box. It would then remain in the chat box due to its size until you reset your game. It was simply so big other chat could not push it up fast enough. This became known as the flashbang glitch, and yes, you could do this in global chat and lock up everyone's chat box until they reset their game client. But the most dangerous HTML use was even simpler. If you linked an item and then preceded it with this line of code, open bracket a data equals 1, close bracket, then write any text you want and then end it with open bracket stop A, you would cause a situation where if the player hovered their cursor over the text you had written, it would cause a feedback loop which would instantly crash their client because you had set the data variable to 1 and then ended the data variable, and with no data the client didn't know what to do. This means you could type, "Oh my god guys, check out this amazing sword" in global chat, wrap this code around the link, and anyone who hovers over it would instantly crash. Reddit is flooded with posts on the absolute state of the chat box. It is important to note, linking items in a chat box is not a new thing. This has happened in other MMOs before, so it should have been prepared for, and the text inputs from users should be sanitized inside any in-game chat function. The same day, the crouch healing bug is reported on in the gaming media. All PvP wars are now battles between crouch healing and dragging the window. Another Forbes article appears stating New World has lost on average 135,000 players a week since launch. At the time of publication, this player exodus showed no signs of stopping. One day later, on the 30th, a video was posted to Reddit showing how to enter the PvP battleground minigame Outpost Rush before the countdown has begun, allowing a team to start with all of its players already inside on the capture points. This glitch isn't complicated, it is simply climb over the scenery. It takes less than 30 seconds to do. The same day, Amazon Games released a statement on the client and how it is not 100% client-side authoritative. The information is stored on the server, but the client has limited power to hold or delay certain bits of data, and certain checks will not happen until the client says they can. So New World is not client-side authoritative except for the times when it is. The next day, Reddit is flooded with posts about a new bug, the hatchet damage increase bug. It seems the ability against the odds, which is meant to be a temporary increase to your damage when surrounded by enemies, stacks and doesn't ever fall off, meaning the hatchet is now the strongest weapon in the game and can one-hit most players. This increased damage effect persists even if you change weapons. The only way to stop it is to die. On the opposite end of the damage spectrum, an update to the Fire Staff and the Ice Gauntlet render them completely useless. In order to combat the heal crouch bug, all AoE effects now only trigger when the player or enemy moves inside them, meaning if you stay completely still inside any area of effect damage, you just won't take any damage. Videos are posted to Reddit showing how the in-game enemies also ignore AoE damage if they do not move. Remember, all of these updates are being added to the live game with no testing. The 1st of November sees YouTuber Big Fry TV release Why the Hell is New World This Broken? In the video, he recaps everything from the long login times to the gold dupes and destroyed economy, the servers filling up and ending empty, and then the crash bug linked in the chat box. The same day, I release another video titled A Response to the Fans, explaining I don't hate the game, I'm just very disappointed, and in the video I show you another glitch. If you accept a town project quest which requires you to collect resources, you can glitch the hand-in and keep the resources. If you place the requested items in your storage and then make a market board posting of those items from your storage, then hand the quest in, the hand-in will claim the items, but if you then go to the market board and cancel the posting you just made, you'll have all the items returned to you. This means town project quests are essentially unlimited golden experience for no effort once you have all of the requested items. This bug is still in the game. Amazon Games now makes an extremely dangerous decision. In order to combat the gold dupes, quest hand-in exploits, and try to fix the economy, they suspend all wealth transfers between players, meaning no trading directly and no using the auction house. Wealth transfer is now turned off. Any listings posted to the auction house will remain there until transfer is turned back on. This will matter soon. As expected, such a sweeping change causes more unseen bugs, including the worst gold duplication glitch yet. Switching wealth transfer off also means companies can't pay to start town improvement projects, but if they tried to, a strange glitch would happen. They would attempt to start a project which cost a lot of gold, the project would fail and the coins would be refunded, but they were never taken in the first place, meaning companies controlling towns can now start spamming projects and reach maximum coin stacks within the hour. If you control the town, you and your entire company effectively now had access to unlimited gold, which would be usable once trading was turned back on. Reddit is now flooded with posts about this, and anyone not in a company is now months behind. It takes less than 24 hours for PC Gamer to run an article on this titled Players Accidentally Trigger New World's Latest Gold Dupe. The article also explains that taxes cannot be paid on company-controlled towns and all settlements on all servers are being downgraded as the upkeep payments are being missed. The in-game world is literally crumbling away, with crafters no longer having access to the more powerful, higher-tier crafting stations. Callum Upton releases New World, the bugs are out of control, recapping everything we we know up to this point. The next day on the 3rd, another weapon exploit is found. The temporary Great Axe buff Bloodlust is remaining on permanently, granting players up to 30% increased damage and speed. Ironically, this is now the only thing balancing the infinite hatchet damage bug. The game descends into Great Axe versus hatchets. 5 days later, the 8th of November, players are calling for emergency server merges. The game release saw record numbers, so new servers were added, but the state of the game was so bad the majority have now left, resulting in many dead servers. Because New World is PvP focused, it requires players creating companies and interacting with the world to be relevant. The less populated servers now have ghost towns, downgraded crafting stations, and PvP quests are difficult to finish. I checked the state of the servers while writing this script on the 6th of December, cross-referencing the numbers from both New World status website and the New World database website, and I found this. The player cap per world is 2,000 people. Some worlds had 5 people online. Many of them had less than 100, and the most populated active world had 1,600. The majority of New World servers are now essentially empty. The same day, trading is turned back on, and companies with maxed out gold instantly buy up the majority of the auction house listings across all servers. Because the listings are still the original price people listed for them a week ago. Companies are able to outfit all members with max level gear because gold is no longer an issue. The next day, the 9th, a public test realm is finally announced. Players will be able to test all the patches before they go live and find all the glitches before they're able to affect the live game. Unfortunately, Amazon forgot to tell players the public test realm will not actually be representative of what the next patch will actually contain, and there will be many unlisted fixes or updates added directly to the live game which were not included on the public test realm, defeating the entire purpose of even having a public test realm. The Void Gauntlet weapon is also added to the game. However, they forgot to add it to the crafting table random upgrade chance. So unlike other weapons which have a small chance of being made better with traits or abilities, the Void Gauntlet is always made as standard, and the extra attributes must be added using additional reagents, not randomly gained through luck, meaning crafters were now at a huge disadvantage over adventurers who actually had the reagents, and the Void Gauntlet started off weaker than it should have been. The next day, the 10th, I released New World, Can They Save It? I praised the increased communication we received from Amazon recently, including a statement on the client, the public test realm, and misguided but wholehearted attempts to stop the gold duping by stopping the wealth transfer. I hoped this was the start of a more open dialogue between New World and the players. However, the town project hand-in glitch, where you can refund your items by making an auction house listing from your storage, still works. 2 days later on the 12th, YouTuber Asmongold releases my full review of New World after playing 500 hours. He praises the graphics and sound design while critiquing the lack of engaging endgame content and the excessive amount of bugs. He states the smartest AI in the game are the buffalo. He describes the game as a good foundation, but not there yet. There are still no swimming animations despite being set on an island and your character being a sailor. On the 13th, Amazon releases a statement on the player-created minimap overlay. New World is designed to not have a minimap. Amazon Games explains the including of a minimap would be immersion-breaking and ruin the adventurous feel they were going for. They say any minimap add-on which shows resource gathering locations, enemy spawn points, item locations, or player locations may result in a ban. They want players looking at the game, not at a map. 2 days later, on the 15th, wealth transfer is disabled again when another gold trading dupe is discovered. Trading gold to a player who has no gold and then disconnecting in the trade results in the player getting gold and the original trader also keeping gold. Along with this, a trophy duplication glitch is discovered. Trophies are high-level items with intense crafting benefits and are extremely valuable. The market board is now flooded with duplicated trophies, and the economy crashes again. 2 days after this, on the 17th, Kira TV releases New World, New Dupe, discussing the multiple wealth transfer stops, the trophy dupes, and the now almost irredeemably damaged economy. Money is now meaningless to high-level players, and the majority of high-level companies on still active worlds have everything they could need. The next day, on the 18th, patch 1.1 releases titled Into the Void. This patch contains multiple bug fixes and updates, but unfortunately brings more major bugs. Patch 1.1 for some reason listed harvesting gear, equipable armor with harvesting speed and yield bonuses as future content, meaning all harvesting gear is now removed from the game. Players who spent hundreds of hours crafting their harvesting gear sets log in and discover they are naked. Harvesting gear in your inventory or bank is also gone. Pure crafting players are now even more angry. Amazon Games apologizes and says all the harvesting gear will be restored in the next patch, but that may be some time away. The next day, on the 19th, PC Gamer publishes an article listing all the failings of patch 1.1, including the harvesting gear deletion, the hidden nerfs to some items not present in the public test realm, the lack of punishment for known bug abusers, and the economic damage caused by duplication of trophies. By now, players have discovered another major downside of patch 1.1. Experience required to reach higher levels of crafting and trade skills is now much higher, and this was not listed on the test server. However, if you reach maximum before the patch, you will not be reset, meaning any players who rush to high levels and hit 200 craft skills before patch 1.1 now have a several-month advantage over newer players. Training crafting to higher levels now takes tens, in some cases hundreds of hours more, and vastly more resources than before. This increased experience requirement was not included on the test realm. Players are angry because this is not new content, this is simply grind. Many players theorize Amazon Games did not expect players to level through New World as fast as they have been, so needed to find a way to slow them down. Along with this, patch 1.1 made gaining watermarks much harder. Once you reach level 60, you stop gaining levels. Instead, you increase your watermark number. The higher your watermark rating, the higher the gear score of the dropped gear or looted items you may find. This means grinding the few endgame dungeons will slowly but surely reward better and better items. Unfortunately, now with increased enemy toughness and decreased player defense of patch 1.1, playing solo is now a lot harder. On the 20th, the YouTuber Lazy Peon releases New World full review, pros and cons, which is a balanced look at what the game has to offer, again praising the visuals and sound design and critiquing the lack of endgame content and rampant bugs. On this day, the average Steam review score switched from mostly positive to mixed. The next day, 21st, the Lazy Peon adds a disclaimer to his pros and cons review video and pins the comment, which reads, "Ignore what I said about the game improving every week from 2315 to 2340. Amazon Games Studios made one of the stupidest decisions I've seen from an MMO developer with this recent update. They released a public test realm for testing and feedback. People respond to it positively. On the first major update since the public test realm, they add a bunch of hidden changes to the main game, bypassing the public test realm, and didn't mention it in the patch notes. The majority of these untested hidden changes are massively unpopular, make watermarking almost impossible for solo players, and are changes that nobody was asking for. Steam reviews have since dropped to mixed. Whoever's in charge of New World has displayed that they are completely clueless. How they still have a job, I have no idea. The higher-ups must be friends of Jeff Bezos and equally as clueless. I don't know anymore." 2 days later, on the 23rd, the parody animation New World Into the Grind is added to the New World subreddit, receiving over 12,000 upvotes and more than 200 awards. The video is a satirical rehash of the Into the Void advert for patch 1.1. By now, the community are questioning if Amazon Games Studios really know what they are doing. Along with this, a minimap exploit is discovered. Using a minimap add-on in the game risks getting you banned, but having a community-made minimap website open on your second monitor listing all resource locations, all item spawns, all enemy roaming ranges, and all hidden lore locations is absolutely fine. For all competitive crafters and gatherers, this is an essential tool, and you now need 2 monitors. Amazon Games banned minimaps to preserve immersion, and in doing so, have pushed players to use immersion-breaking community maps loaded onto a second monitor. Remember, they banned minimaps because of immersion, but allowed the Rainbow Lion in the game. 1 day later, on the 24th, the forums explode, with players saying they have received tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of coins directly given to them via the game. Amazon Games stated they would be providing small refunds to players who lost wealth during the wealth shutdown, but they miscalculated and gave out far too much. One forum user posts thanks for the 300k, and a New World community moderator replies with congratulations. This angered the player base, showing how either New World wasn't taking this mistake seriously, or the moderators didn't actually know what they were congratulating. This is now a meme, and many posts with glitches or mistakes and met with players replying congratulations. NNE then publishes an article explaining the gold players received was a mistake, but as many had already spent it and it had been mixed into the economy, it would be impossible to track. So for the first time, Amazon Games take the New World world servers offline and perform a 2-hour rollback, removing the excessive gold injection, but also all progress players have made in the last 2 hours. The next day, the 25th, PC Gamer publishes an article discussing the mistake giving of hundreds of thousands of gold to certain players and the impact of the rollback. The game still does not have a swimming animation. 4 days later, on the 29th, a Reddit post discusses the current state of the game, explaining how the early grinders were able to max out skills before the grind was increased, the gold dupers are still playing, the match report bug is still present, and anyone starting the game now and playing legitimately would be months behind current endgame players. Many people in the thread explain the handling of the updates and exploits have killed their desire to play. The game now regularly fluctuates between 60,000 and 140,000 active daily players on Steam, a sharp drop from the almost 1 million players on launch day. 4 days later, December 3rd, Game Rant runs an article showing how the Plankter server is now fully dominated by one faction. Remember, if your faction owns multiple towns, travel between those towns is cheaper, and you can transfer items between town storage banks. This means any player not in the Marauder faction on this server is playing at a huge disadvantage, and new players cannot join the dominant faction. With the dwindling player base and defending a town being vastly easier than attacking one, this is unlikely to change. Stagnation has now set in. On the same day, the Steam player charts drop, so 79,000 people are playing with a 24-hour peak of 131,000. That is a 91.4% daily player base drop from launch. All MMO games see player base decrease, but not by that much. On the same day, an update makes crafting armor or weapons essentially pointless. A new system now makes equipped items scale to your current watermark level. This means if you are a fresh level 60 player with low watermark and you have crafted yourself a 600 gear score axe, when you equip it, it will downgrade to roughly 530. Because the fastest way to increase your watermark level is to grind the endgame dungeons, and those dungeons will often drop equipment appropriate to your watermark level, and any crafted gear you make or buy will scale down. Crafting your own high-level gear is now pointless, and buying high gear score from the auction house is also pointless because it might scale down when you equip it. You can no longer trust the stats you see on any weapon or armor because they will change when you put it on. Game Rant publishes an article on this update. Crafters are now even more mad. Pure crafting players should not equip their own high-level armor because it will be downscaled to them and lose value, and they cannot sell it because the only people who would consider buying it likely already have it from all the dungeon grinding they've been doing. The economy suffers even more. Reddit is now filled with people complaining about this, and many pure crafting players are quitting the game. This means guilds are losing their crafters. 3 days later, December 6th, a player is banned for having the word fart in their name. They appeal this and are told the word is morally unacceptable. They do, however, hilariously clarify with customer support that the word poop is totally fine, so the name poop player would be allowed, but simply the fart is morally unacceptable. This event adds even more weight to the theory that reports are not all manually reviewed, and customer service do not always know exactly what rules they are trying to uphold or why. December 7th, Amazon Games released a statement on the official New World forums about the scaling for crafted items. The scaling will now not apply to any item you craft, any item you can earn from a quest, or any item you have purchased from the faction shop. This means crafting your own equipment is now viable again, but buying equipment somebody else has crafted for you is not. And this is where we currently are. New World was released, players enjoyed it for a few weeks, then players discovered how completely broken it was, then Amazon Games showed how woefully incompetent they are at updating and balancing an MMO, and now it is crashing and burning. New World is still the 5th most played game on Steam, meaning it is still likely making a lot of money and has a substantial player base, but a substantial player base in comparison to what? Getting people to try your game is easy, getting them to stick around is hard. 1 million people tried New World on day 1, and now 100,000 play it on the daily. A 10% retention rate is not a great figure. Hopefully 2022 will bring many improvements to New World, and we will have a solid MMO to play and enjoy, but given the track record and the level of mechanical and system design skill shown, I am not holding out too much hope. Have you played New World? What are your thoughts and feelings? What was the worst mistake they made? Let me know in the comments below. Another massive thank you to the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive and allow me to make deeper dive videos like this one. You can support for only £1 a month. Check the video description for links to Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, and Discord. And as always, have a great day. This is going to be a long video. In it, I'm going to take a look at the complexities of the virtual land trading platform Earth 2, what it actually is, the reality of its current state, and the potential of its claims for the future. I'm going to address the videos referring to this product as a scam, including my own, and examine if the product fits those definitions, if it twists them slightly, or if it has made something entirely new, a monetization system we are seeing made possible by the digital land rush age. While I understand that reactionary drama does extremely well on YouTube, in this video I'm going to attempt to remain as objective as I can and present only what we know, and clearly label any personal opinions as just that, opinions. With that established, let's begin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Rothhays. Over the past few days, interest in the project Earth 2 has increased vastly, with several YouTubers, including Kira TV, Big Fry TV, Moist Critical, and myself, all making videos discussing the project. The general consensus has been to label it a scam, or a scheme, or a money laundering effort. And after much research into this project, I believe that while these labels arguably tangentially apply, they are not actually complex enough to fully describe what this scheme is. They are too reductionist to what our definition needs to be, and what it's promising to be. So, in this video I'd like to explain exactly what the scheme is as it stands today, and what it's promising to be, and whether it can actually achieve that goal. It's important to let you all know that I have no connection to the company at all, either professionally or personally. I have no involvement whatsoever in this project. I do not care about the success or the failure of it. My loyalty lies now and for all time entirely to the gamers and to the players of this game. I want to make sure you entirely and completely know what you are putting your money into before you put your money into it. Your money is yours to do what you want with. I just want to make sure you are informed. This is not me versus you. This is not us versus Earth 2. This is us as gamers looking at all the projects and saying which ones we think are worth our money. I am also aware that several YouTubers have been filing privacy takedown notices against other people's videos discussing Earth 2, including Big Fry TV and Callum Upton. Because of that, this video contains absolutely no information that is not publicly available, and it does not contain slander or libel against any individual or collective. So grab a cup of tea and sit back while we discuss exactly how the scheme of Earth 2 makes money and what it means for everyone who is invested into the project. Get comfy, because this gets pedantic. For the benefit of those coming into the situation fresh, let's begin with the basics. What is Earth 2? Earth 2 is claiming to be a virtual recreation of Earth, the first step to a new metaverse, a connection between physical and digital worlds. Earth 2 is taking the entire globe and attempting to digitize it to create a one-to-one scale virtual environment mapped to the actual globe within the Unity video game engine. The ultimate aim of the product is to create a fully immersive 3D virtual reality version of Earth that can be explored by millions of players, with players owning virtual land, building virtual buildings, and having virtual adventures. The website explains the concept they are going for is essentially to recreate the Oasis from Ready Player One, or to build, as they quote, the Matrix. A direct quote from the developer on the Earth 2 Discord states that Earth 2 will be like Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, plus more detailed than Red Dead Redemption 2. To put this claim into perspective, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is 150 gigabytes large and covers the entire Earth. That's 510 million kilometers squared. It uses data from Bing Maps to render the world, but it doesn't render the extreme detail of Red Dead Redemption 2, which is widely considered to be one of the best looking games of the generation. It is also 150 gigabytes, but only covers a map size of 75 square kilometers. This means you would need 6.8 million Red Dead Redemption 2 maps to cover the Earth, and if we are to assume you are truly aiming for the level of detail in Red Dead Redemption 2 literally everywhere, and Red Dead Redemption 2 2 was 150 gigabytes for the Wild West aesthetic alone, you would need to design every other biome, historical item, voice clip, flora, fauna, weather, or location, and you're making a map 6.8 million times bigger than that game. You would be making a game with a rough file size in today's technology uncompressed just over 1 billion gigabytes. But remember, this is just the claimed long-term effort of Earth 2 is ultimately going to be in many, many years' time to recreate the planet in stunning definition in VR, to recreate the Matrix. But in order to make this happen, they've broken the entire process down into 3 easy-to-manage phases, with Matrix recreation being effectively the end of phase 3. Right now, we are at the start of phase 1. So let's take a look at what this phase actually means for me, for you, for all the users, because it's the mechanics involved in phase 1 that people relate to being scammed, and in reality, are actually even stranger. Because the way this works doesn't fit any definition of scam that we currently have. We might have something completely new. So while the Matrix is a few years away, probably many, many years away, ignoring the claims of what might be in the future, what do we have now? Phase 1 is the land buying phase. What we currently have is a satellite image of the Earth supplied by Mapbox. Then they have overlaid a grid onto this image. The grid is divided into 5.1 trillion squares of equal size. Each square maps to roughly 10 meters by 10 meters of the Earth. You, as a user, are able to buy these grid squares with real money. When phase 2 and 3 finally happen, these squares will apparently be relevant, essentially being your own land in the mapped game. But for now, what we have is a grid on a map. With 5.1 trillion tiles available, it is unlikely that every tile will sell anytime soon, but many people have already bought tiles in major cities. It is important to understand that when phase 3, the global VR phase, happens, each square will not look how it looks in reality, as each player will apparently be able to build on and customize their square. So the tile value is not necessarily related to the in-game architecture. Also in phase 2, apparently every tile will generate a specific resource that will allow you to build the buildings you want to build. So what is the tile value linked to? Well, 2 things. First of all, an algorithm that the company controls, which increases or decreases the value based on various currently unexplained factors. And secondly, player and market demand, because once you own a tile, you can attempt to sell it for whatever you like. The cheaper tiles, such as the ones in the center of the European countryside, miles from anywhere, can cost roughly $1, while the tiles in major American cities are going for upwards of $60 each, and some people have bought thousands. The promise for the future is owning tiles may generate interest for the owner. When the virtual reality game is finished, they may put adverts within the game, and if the advert is on your tile, you may get a cutback of the advert's profit, which the owner will then be able to cash out, making owning virtual land a profit-making venture. But this system is actually much more complex than that. So right now, what we have is a map of the Earth with a grid over it containing 5.1 trillion square tiles. Each tile on the grid has a different value based on its location on the actual map and player demand for that specific tile, and you can buy them. But here's the important part. As the value of the tile that you have bought goes up, you can then sell the tile to another player, and then you can cash out. You can take the virtual currency that you made selling the virtual tile, and you can cash it back out for real world money. And once you do that, you have made a profit. And the Discord for Earth 2 claims that several people have made tens of thousands of dollars profit doing just this. And here's the thing. I believe they have. Mathematically, that is entirely possible. I'm going to show you later how that is completely possible to do. It doesn't mean the system doesn't have some pretty strange things going on with it, but they have made money. You can potentially do that. Right now, in phase 1, what we essentially have is a tile purchasing, trading, and selling system. Essentially, it's stocks and shares for virtual real estate. The value is currently going up of almost all squares because interest in the project is being generated, is increasing, and people want to buy squares or want to sell the squares that they have. And early adopters to schemes like this often do make money because it's cheap to buy something at the start, and then you can sell it for a slight profit. But money isn't created from thin air. Value must be generated from somewhere. Value has to be exchanged to generate money. How's that working? Well, while I was trying to figure this out, I spoke to an Earth 2 YouTuber called the Mole Combo, who was incredibly polite and incredibly professional, and managed to answer all questions I had. The link to his channel is below, and I suggest that you do consume news from various sources with various biases to get a more general overview of any situation. It's kind enough to answer all my questions, help understand how the system works. Let me show you the mistake I made, and that I think a lot of people are making, and then let me show you the reality, because it's even weirder. Here's the first situation I worked with, and I wanted to keep it simple to visualize it. Let's take a very simple grid, say 2 squares by 2 squares, all for sale at $1 each. The company selling them has nothing in the bank, but they have 4 squares to sell to you. Player A appears and buys the top left square for $1. They now own the square, and the company has $1. The project now begins to gain some interest, and due to supply and demand, all the tiles rise in price. They're now worth $5 each because of the algorithm and the player demand. Player B appears and buys the bottom 2 tiles for a total of $10. He now owns those tiles, and the company has a total of $11. With the tiles rapidly selling, prices rise again. Every tile is now worth $6, and there's only 1 remaining unsold. Player C now appears. He wants tiles, but doesn't want the top right tile, so instead he buys Player A's tiles from him for $6, and Player B's tiles from them for $12, 6 each. Player C now owns 3 tiles. This means Player A has $6 in their virtual account from selling the virtual land, and Player B has $12 in their virtual account. They both made a profit, but now they both try to cash out, and we have an issue. The company only have $11 in the bank, and they won't be able to pay out the owed amounts. And this is the situation that most people are giving as an example because it's easier to think of, and this is the reason many people are calling it a scam. But there is a small, yet absolutely vital step that we have missed in this example, and it's this step that removes the chance of the company ever losing money. It's this step that is the cornerstone to the entire operation that absolutely guarantees the fact that someone, somewhere, has to lose money, and it will never ever be the company. Here's the actual situation. The problem with the example I gave is we are assuming players A, B, and C can buy the tiles directly for real dollars, and this isn't actually what's happening. You can only buy tiles in Earth 2 using their own proprietary currency called E-dollars. This is not a cryptocurrency because it's not traded outside of this very specific platform. Think of it more as a premium currency within a game, because that's basically exactly what it is. And it is the process of buying and then trading E-dollars that is the real cornerstone to how this scheme works. Currently, E-dollars are bought at a rate of $1 to 1 E-dollar, a direct exchange rate. But just watch what happens with the situation. The tiles on the grid exist within a closed environment controlled entirely by the company, and they are purchased within the game for the premium currency of E-dollars. So, for player A to buy a tile for $1, he must first exchange 1 real dollar for 1 E-dollar. The company now have $1, player A has 1 E-dollar, and he buys the tile with this. This takes the E-dollar away from his virtual wallet and puts it into the tile. Player B comes along and he exchanges 10 real dollars for 10 E-dollars. The company now has $11 in the bank. Player B spends those 10 E-dollars on buying his 2 tiles. Now when player C appears, he cannot directly buy the tiles from A or B for real dollars. Instead, he must buy into this closed system. He must convert his real dollars into the proprietary currency of E-dollars. This means he must spend 18 real dollars to buy 18 E-dollars first, meaning the company now has a total of 29 real dollars. Now player C can spend his E-dollars to buy the tiles from A and B, and players A and B can now cash out their E-dollars back to real dollars because the company does have enough real dollars. While this system may seem better on the surface, there are some tricks you need to be aware of. While you can buy an empty tile from the company, you cannot sell it back to the company. So a tile being purchased is always a net gain for the company. Once you own a tile within the game, you can only sell it to another player. This means in order for you to make a profit, someone else has to put more money into the system so they can buy it from you. Because of this, the only way to unlock the value value in your owned tiles and return it to floating E-dollars in your wallet is for another person to enter the system, or for someone already in the system to put even more money into it, buying even more E-dollars and then buy your tile from you. Along with this, every player-to-player trade is taxed a small amount, meaning the company takes a small cut of the trade value, so every time a tile is traded from player to player, the company makes a small profit. And then the final touch. While you can buy E-dollars at a 1-to-1 exchange rate with no tax, you cannot cash out at a 1-to-1 ratio. Whenever you withdraw your floating E-dollars from your digital wallet, your Earth 2 balance back to real Earth dollars, the company charges a percent of the withdrawal amount and a flat withdrawal fee on top of it. If you Google Earth 2 withdrawal fee, you'll see the current system has a fixed fee of $7.50 and then a transaction fee based on a percentage of the withdrawal. This screen grab from the website Livian shows a withdrawal of $925 and fees of $26. What this means is, if you buy 100 E-dollars and you have them in your digital wallet, and then before buying a tile you decide, actually this isn't for me, try to cash out immediately, you will instantly lose money due to the withdrawal fees. The only way to withdraw equal to or more than you put into Earth 2 is to purchase tiles, wait for the value to increase, and then sell it to someone else. But remember, for someone else to buy them, that someone else must have also bought into this closed system, changing real dollars for E-dollars, meaning the monetary inputs to this system will always, without fail, be higher than the money paid out to users, because the money paid out to users who sold their tiles for a profit is supplied to the company by the new users who bought into the system. Using this method of charging for player-to-player trade and charging for withdrawal means the company can mathematically never, ever lose money. So by now, you might be seeing that what we actually have is a closed system of trading where you can buy into a self-created premium currency of E-dollars at a rate of 1-to-1, but you can only cash out at a reduced rate with an additional fixed fee. So in order to break even, you need to spend the proprietary currency of E-dollars on tiles. You need to trade, and every single trade is taxed. So the company are putting you into a position where in order to even get your own investment back, you need to pay them small amounts in tax through trade. You have to hope you can sell them to somebody else for a profit, and you are cashing out when you have made a profit at somebody else's expense. Someone has to have bought into the system with the money that you are cashing out as a profit. The only way the current users of this system will make a profit is if money flow into the system is constant and consistent. It is this need for constant supply of new people buying in that has caused the comparison of Ponzi scheme. But Earth 2 manages to skirt the exact definition of a Ponzi scheme through technicalities. The technical definition of a Ponzi scheme is a form of fraud in which belief in the success of a non-existent enterprise is fostered by the payment of quick returns to first investors from money invested by later investors. The reason Earth 2 dodges this exact definition is twofold. First, the enterprise isn't non-existent. The trading platform of the grid does actually exist. It's basic, but it is real. And secondly, a Ponzi scheme requires new people to join, specifically people, with the newer people paying into the scheme and their money being used to generate the profits for the earlier adopters. While Earth 2 doesn't need new people, just new money. It would be entirely possible for the first ever user to just keep buying E-dollars and keep buying every tile off every new player at a profit to that new player, and have every single person cash out more than they put in, apart from the player putting all the money into the system and buying all the tiles. We will look at how they will eat the loss later. This means that while Earth 2 does require a constant supply of input from dollars to E-dollars, that input can come from absolutely anywhere, including people already in the system. It does not technically require new people to buy in, which is why it is not technically a Ponzi scheme. It would be a major benefit for the scheme if more people did buy in, but it's not actually essential. Once the original E-dollar has been purchased by anyone, the company are in profit. So along with being extremely close to, but not actually fitting the definition of a Ponzi scheme as we know it today, it is also close to, but doesn't fit the definition of a multi-level marketing scheme. And here's why. Multi-level marketing schemes are things you generally want to avoid at all costs. They are those Sensi, Herbalife, Unique, doTERRA type scams. The basic business model is you buy a large supply of something from them and then you try to sell it, usually crap makeup. But you're also told if you recruit people under you into the scheme, you will get a cut of all the profits of the people you recruit. That is the multi-level marketing element, usually referred to as your downline. In these schemes, it is always more profitable to recruit people in than it is to sell the product. If you've ever had someone message you on Facebook saying, "Hey hun, be your own boss, #bossbabe," it is likely they're in a multi-level marketing scam and you should consider not being their friend anymore. I'd suggest you direct them to the subreddit anti-MLM. So how does this link to Earth 2? Well, MLM schemes work by selling you a product and then encouraging you to bring other people into the schemes so they can also buy products. In Earth 2, every user is given a referral code, and if you give this to someone else and then they buy a tile, you can get 5% credit of the purchase of the tile back into your wallet and give 5% to the original owner of the referral code. Now, it's very important to realize this isn't giving you 5% more E-dollars for your real dollars. This is just giving you a kickback of 5% E-dollar credit on the purchase price of a tile within a closed system, and then giving 5% of that purchase to the referral code owner in credit. Even with this referral code, you will still not make a profit unless someone buys your tile off you. The reason this links to multi-level marketing while not being a legal copy is because the referral codes are heavily encouraging you to encourage others to join the system. It gives every user a vested interest in introducing new people into the system so they can use their referral code. This is why in the Earth 2 Discord, almost everyone has their referral code in their Discord name. They are desperate for people to use it. The exact definition of a multi-level marketing scheme is the practice of selling goods or services on behalf of a company in a system whereby participants receive commission on their sales as well as the sales of any participants they recruited. Earth 2 avoids this exact definition because they are not selling goods or services. They are encouraging current users to recruit new users with a referral code, but they're not giving the code giver any further kickbacks or downline sales in real money. It is given in E-dollars, which is a company-controlled premium currency that only exists within this game. So with the buy-in ratio being 1-to-1 real dollars, but the cash out being taxed both percentage-wise and flat fee, with every player tile-to-tile trade being taxed, this system requiring a constant flow of money into it from new sources to old sources being able to make a profit, and the referral codes being used to encourage and to give people a vested interest in bringing new people into the system. What happens when the bubble bursts? Who is paying for the profits of the people cashing out nowadays? Because it's not coming out of the company's bank account. The company are not paying a single penny out of their own actual money. All the profits that players are generating are being paid for by the losses of another player sometime. This system has one inevitable truth. Someone, somewhere, will lose money, and it will happen in one of two ways. Players are only able to make a profit by selling their tiles for more than they paid, meaning the prices of the tiles must constantly rise. Eventually, this will reach a price that people are not willing to pay. Say player A buys a tile for $50, it rises to 80, he sells it to B. The tile rises again to 120, B sells it to C, it rises to 200, and now nobody wants to buy it. Player C is now left owning a tile that they paid 120 E-dollars for, which means at some point, somebody must have put 120 real dollars into the system that is now locked up in this tile. They cannot cash out. C is left to either hold on to the tile forever, which would be somewhat of a Schrodinger's tile, where they both have the value of the tile within the closed system and are unable to actually access the equity in the real world, meaning they both have and have not lost money yet, or sell it for a loss, which would recoup some of the money spent, but ultimately leave their lost money with the company. Because remember, the company do not care what you buy or sell a tile for. They only care that you buy E-dollars and then trade as often as you can to incur tax and then cash out as little as you can, so they can keep charging you withdrawal fees every time you do. The way you make money in this system is by someone else putting more money into the system and buying what you have at a profit to you. And the way you lose money in this system is by being the last one left holding a tile that no one wants, because it means that tile's price would have increased to such a level where the money has been converted from dollars to E-dollars, but is now locked in E-dollars, and you are unable to cash out the equity in that tile that you own. You are trapped with premium currency within a closed system that cannot be traded anywhere else. You are forced to either hold onto it forever or sell it at a loss, because the people making profit are making profit off the future loss of someone else. Earlier today we heard stories about people making tens of thousands of pounds or dollars profit in this game, and I do believe that has happened. I remember reading on the Discord that Earth 2 has so far paid out around $3 million, which again is a number I can absolutely completely and totally believe given the amount of money we are dealing with. But that does mean that sometimes, somewhere, someone or a group of people have inevitably lost $3 million somewhere. The player base has to eat the $3 million loss at some point, because right now the company is not taking that loss. The players are. It is the mathematical reality of a closed system. Earth 2 tiles themselves are not cryptocurrency. E-dollars are not cryptocurrency. I compared them to crypto in my previous video, and I was incorrect. I was wrong with that. I will hold my hands up and say that was completely 100% wrong. It's actually worse, and here's why. Cryptocurrency has many checks and balances to make sure the person who gained it, the person who mined it, and then the person who trades it between whatever entity is doing so in the correct way. All the checks and balances are there. The blockchain makes sure that everything is above board. It is collected legitimately, and cryptocurrency is generally decentralized, meaning one individual or one small collective of people cannot completely and totally manipulate the prices of that currency. It is set by the general user base, not by one specific authority. Earth 2 tiles are pieces in a trading game, bought with their own premium currency of E-dollars, and then sold to other players in traded and taxed transactions. E-dollars are a premium currency. They are diamonds in a mobile game. They are gold in World of Warcraft. They are not a cryptocurrency. The tiles are mounts in World of Warcraft. They are the special characters you buy in Genshin Impact. They are not a cryptocurrency. All this is a closed system with trading within it, with special trading pieces and proprietary currency that has no value outside of the system itself. This is why when people say, "Oh, just wait for the rug pull, wait for the company to run away," it doesn't even need to happen. There doesn't even need to be a rug pull. There doesn't need to be a switch, a moment of falsehood. Because the moment someone buys into this system, the moment someone buys E-dollars, they're buying in at a loss. The company make profit. Every time there's a trade, the company make profit. Every time there's a cash out, the company make profit. The company don't actually want to run away from you. They want to keep the system going for as long as they possibly can. They will never make a loss. The players will. But here's another problem with the system, pretty major one. These kind of systems survive when they are exclusive or they are popular. And the idea of a metaverse is not exclusive to Earth 2. Within these closed trading systems, early adopters often take the least risk because they are able to gain control of a larger amount of resources for a cheaper price before it becomes popular. Knowing this, it is beneficial to be an early adopter because joining these schemes later in their life means you are competing with more people and higher prices. Knowing this, other companies have started springing up, also creating digital real estate metaverses, and smart investors will now ignore Earth 2 and go to these instead to ride the early boom wave. Planet 9 has a digitized world selling tiles on a grid. After Earth is a digitized world selling tiles on a grid. Mars Genesis, launching soon, will be a digitized Mars selling 10,000 tiles on a grid. V-Park is a digitized world selling tiles on a grid. Meta-Earth is a digitized world selling tiles on a grid. Decentraland is a digitized world selling tiles on a grid, although they do seem to actually have some kind of basic game to go with it. The digital real estate metaverse boom is here, and each of these metaverse schemes has followed the same steps. They all sell you their own proprietary currency that cannot be used elsewhere, and then you use that to buy the land within their games, and this is all ultimately going to flood the market, divide the player base, and make it much more difficult for any individual player to succeed. But remember, that's not the point of any of these schemes. They don't care if you succeed. The moment you buy their own super special premium currency, they have already won. Real land often has value because you cannot make more of it. It is limited in nature, and as the rest of the land is used up to build stuff, or to turn into farmland, or to simply extract the minerals from the land, remaining goes up in value because of its limited nature. Digital land, virtual land, is unlimited. You can simply make more of it. You can devalue your own central playing piece, your own central tile, your own proprietary currency by simply creating more things. Limitation holds value, and digital games by their nature have no limitation. Projects like this succeed when they are the only one, when they have limitation. If there were only one metaverse, if there were only one virtual game selling virtual tiles, then everyone would need to flock to that game because it would have scarcity. It would have limited availability. But as we've seen, metaverses can be created out of thin air. Everyone is going to be able to create their own metaverse and sell their own tiles on their own grid, and suddenly no individual metaverse looks more valuable than any other individual one. You need a constant supply of cash flowing into your metaverse for people to make profit, and if there are too many metaverses, the player base will be spread so thin that that cash flow will simply not be sustainable. And remember, with these systems, because the early adopters take the least risk, as in they can buy all of the tiles or the playing pieces or the grid spaces at the cheapest cost, when a new metaverse happens, a smart investor is going to move to that new metaverse, buy as many tiles as cheaply as they possibly can, wait for the boom, sell them to the people who are jumping on the popularity bandwagon, and then move off. The best way to make money in these systems is not long-term holding. The best way is short-term, buy, wait for the boom, and then sell. And anyone specifically involved in investing is likely to do this. Anyone that says hold these tiles for long-term profit is thinking it's going to be the same as the stock market or the actual real-world real estate market, which works on limitation. There is no limitation on this market. You hold on to this for 100, 1,000 years, you're going to see loads more metaverses pop up, and suddenly your metaverse isn't special anymore. And remember, this is just phase 1. Phase 2 and 3 are claiming they're going to be planet-sized immersive VR games the size of Flight Simulator with the detail levels of Red Dead Redemption 2, and they will essentially be humanity's first step to creating the Oasis, or the Matrix. Is this technically possible with current technology? No. You simply wouldn't be able to store a file that big or to play a game with that level of detail online with millions of other players, while someone edits the worlds in real time, with our current levels of tech. But here's a bigger issue, one that everyone seems to forget, and this is more obvious to me because I focus on MMORPGs. For an online game to succeed, it needs to be accessible by loads of people. World of Warcraft runs on a low-spec computer. RuneScape 3 is on mobile, which you may not like, but is the most popular gaming device in history. Old-school RuneScape runs on a suitably powerful potato. These games dominated because the tech needed to run them was widely available and affordable. Virtual reality is not. The average gamer cannot afford a virtual reality-ready PC or console, or they don't have the space required to actually play VR games. Making a virtual reality MMO isn't just a technical nightmare, it's a customer-based nightmare because your potential user base is so incredibly small. Combined with the fact that most people get motion sickness when using VR for long periods of time, and MMORPGs are games that specialize in being played for long periods of time. In my opinion, the Oasis and the Matrix-style fantasy they are advertising is a noble goal and many, many years away. We're talking 25 to 30 years before VR tech becomes so widespread it is viable to make it an MMO peripheral. I believe the biggest mistake this project has made so far is advertising something and setting expectations so incredibly high when we are at least a double-digit number of years away from having this. So to answer the simple question, is Earth 2 a scam, actually requires a somewhat more complex answer, because the definitions we have right now do not apply to everyone for $250 each. A and C jump at this offer. They sell their tiles to D. Remember, there is a small tax for every single trade, so the company are making a small amount there, and player A can now cash out. They are withdrawing their entire e-dollar wallet back to real money, which sits at $796, with a